Welcome back to American Dreamers on 55 KRC, the talk station. You can also hear us on the World Wide Web at americandreamers.biz. That's americandreamers.biz for business. I'm Tom Tassett.
And I'm Sunho Donovan. Welcome back.
Hey, our guest today in the studio with us is Mike and Jennifer Bacevich, Bacevich Restoration. And we were talking about, first of all, welcome, guys.
Thank you.
And we were talking about quitting your job and starting a business.
Yes.
Your
so
story,
are you thinking about quitting Bacevich Restoration and starting something else?
Your story is similar, isn't it?
It is very similar. Yes, it is.
Okay, so I know that you were a corporate lawyer. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. How many years does it take to become a lawyer?
It takes your 4 years of your undergrad and a 3-year law school degree.
And then you got to pass that thing, right?
The bar, the dreaded bar.
The bar. So it's 8 years of your life, basically.
Yes,
Yeah.
very much.
And then when you're done, is it like, I don't know, is it a $15 an hour job, or is that a pretty good paying job?
It's a pretty good. Well, it's very competitive. So
yeah,
there's a lot of people coming out of law school looking for jobs, and if you land a good one, it's a good paying job. Other ones aren't doing all right. But
yeah. And you like law, obviously.
I did. I was a corporate law down at Keating, Muthen, and Kleekamp. Very good.
I've
law
heard
firm.
of them. Yes.
KMK.
Yes, got some of their letterhead on my desk, I think.
Do you?
Maybe.
Right.
No, I'm just kidding. So what the heck were you thinking?
What was I thinking? Good question. Jennifer's probably wondering what was I thinking too.
Yeah.
I think I always had something in me to build something. So I guess I left the law firm when I was just about 30 years old, and people in their late 20s, early 30s, years into their career, thinking, "What is this for me? Is this something that I want to keep doing?" And probably go through evaluating that all the time. Probably a lot of your listeners are evaluating that for themselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I was practicing law, doing privately held mergers and acquisitions and venture capital finance work and commercial finance work at a great law firm downtown, making good money. And probably a lot of people would look at that and say, wow, he's got the dream job, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But really, you're looking, being an attorney, you're selling your hours, right? And there's only so many hours in a day.
Mm-hmm.
So to get ahead, you got to work harder and build more hours. And I wanted to build something bigger than that. So always looking, and I was always had an entrepreneurial bug in me, and wanted to, I was doing corporate deals all the time. I was around business people, and I was seeing what they're building and seeing what they're doing, buying and selling different companies, privately held companies, and just thinking I want to be on that side of the table as opposed to this side of the table.
Mm-hmm.
As opposed to the legal side of the table.
Yeah.
So really just started thinking about it and started thinking about where I wanted to spend most of my life, and decided that the law firm environment wasn't necessarily for me.
Okay, well, stop right there, because I want to ask Jennifer, were you aware of all of this unrest?
I was.
Yeah?
Mike would tell me, about the different deals, and he would say things here and there that made me think that this may be, coming up. But he would share it with me, and, it wasn't like it was a big surprise.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Go ahead. You may continue.
Yeah.
So would you say that you were kind of miserable?
Not at all.
Okay.
I was very happy. I enjoyed what I did a lot.
So was it just that you kind of felt like there was something else for you?
Yep. I was missing something.
Mm-hmm.
That was really it. I was not, your question, are you miserable in your job? I was not nearly miserable. I was very happy in my job.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was a great place to work, great people, very stimulating work, but just missing that edge, I guess, of really going out and building something.
Yeah, well, you were building something, but it was somebody
Right.
else's empire, basically.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
So, so you talk about quitting your job and leaving. There's and how you're going to do that. So I did not start something from scratch. I was in the mergers and acquisition industry, so I said I'm going to go buy a business.
Yeah.
So started to look for a company to buy, and that's an interesting experience as well, especially the experience I had coming from the industry. I kind of had, what inside information or whatever you want to call it
Mm-hmm.
about the process and understanding it. But working during the day and trying to find a company to buy at night and do due diligence at night. Jennifer can attest to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, lots of hours at home. I'm
It was
assuming
a lot
lots
of
of
hours.
reading and
Lots of sleepless nights trying to figure out what's a good deal. And, when you're doing that, you don't have enough time to look at multiple deals at the same time,
yeah.
Seriously. So once you find one, you're pursuing your deal, exclusively. So I don't know, Jennifer, we probably had 2 or 3 or 4 deals even that we thought, were going to come to fruition and close. And maybe something on due diligence on our end didn't turn out, or something on the seller's end didn't turn out. And then you're like, wow, we just spent 4 months working like crazy, thinking this was our dream. Your next step, your dream, and then it's gone. And then you don't have time to pursue multiple deals at that time. So
Yeah.
So it's
I'm
like going
starting
back
over.
to square one.
That's
Back
right.
to square one.
Oh,
Mike
how
and Jennifer,
frustrating.
were each of these different types of businesses that you were looking at? You said there were like
Yes.
4 of them that fell
Very-
through.
Very
They were-
different.
They
Really?
were, and a couple of them had us moving.
Is that
moving
right?
us into- yes.
Wow, you had the bug. You got the bug bad. Wow. So were they businesses that you thought, wow, this would be really fun? I mean, was it like a trampoline company or something that would be really fun, or was it just something you wanted to own your own business and that was the main thing?
Yeah, I
Right?
wanted to own my own business, so I
Yeah.
had certain parameters that I was looking for, ruled out certain industries, and really looked at the financial side of it. I ended up buying a restoration company. I didn't know anything about restoration
Yeah.
until I started my due diligence on the industry.
Yeah.
But the financials fit well. I was attracted to the restoration industry because fundamentally you're helping people at one of
Yeah.
the most difficult points in their life, at the same time building a business. And what can be more fulfilling than helping people come out of, they say, the second worst experience other than death in their life, at the same time you're building a business for yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, in terms of looking, we looked at anything from
The company that was the security.
an access control company,
Uh-huh.
automated access control company, a health club in Florida. I actually, you make your rules and then you look at your rules when you're doing things. I said I would never buy a restaurant, right? I'd never
Yeah.
buy a restaurant. I wasn't going to be in the restaurant industry.
Wow.
But I almost bought a chain of restaurants in Florida. So I figured it wasn't exactly.
It wasn't
in the
a
restaurant.
restaurant.
Right.
Were they next door to the gym?
They were in Naples.
That's
Oh,
right.
that would be
Naples
nice.
and Fort Myers.
Really?
I think I know the parameters for that one.
Yeah.
All right. So you found this company, and was it for sale when you found it, or did you approach them to buy it?
It was actually for sale.
Okay.
So being in the legal mergers and acquisition industry, we never really cared for business brokers that much because we always saw how much they were getting paid, and we felt we were doing all the hard work. And
Okay.
why are they getting paid so much? So I actually was talking to a gentleman in Dayton that had acquired a company about 10 years ago, and he was doing very well, and talking to him about how he got into it. And he said, why don't you go up and see Chris Mills up in Dayton? That's how I bought my company. I was like, oh, no, not a business broker. I don't want to go see a business broker.
Yeah.
So I walked into Chris, and he said, you're not going to believe it. I just got this one in yesterday. And I said, oh, here we go. It's just what I expected.
Yeah. Right.
But sure enough, he had just got the client that they were interested in selling, and
Yeah.
showed it to myself and 2 other gentlemen, and had ultimately 2 offers on the company, mine and somebody else's.
Mm-hmm.
And that other offer was actually higher than mine, and they rejected mine, but it ended up not panning out for certain reasons, and they
Yeah.
came back to me and said, are you still interested?
Yeah.
So,
Well, that's great. Now that guy owns a chain of restaurants down in Naples. So, well, that's really interesting information. I want to find out more about the company, Bacevich Restoration. But we're going to take a break right now. You're listening to American Dreamers on 55 KRC, the talk station.
Perspective of her experience while Mike is sort of going through and figuring out, like, was it a combined practice every round of like considering a business to buy? Was it something that you guys talked about and searched together? And
No, I mean, we talked about it, but Mike did most of the searching. We obviously talked about it was a major life change, and I was nervous, but I really believed in Mike. I've known Mike since I was 4 years old. We grew up across the street from each other.
Really?
Aw.
Yes.
Wow.
So,
An American love story.
It is.
and
High school sweethearts, too.
Oh,
Been
That's
together
right.
since she was 15 years old. I was 16.
that's right. So we were always very good friends, and we went to University of Dayton to college together. And I just knew how intelligent Mike was, but I also really had a lot of faith in him. I was scared, but I admire Mike in a lot of ways, and I figured if we're going to go for it, now's the time. And my background is sales and marketing, and I could be involved in the company as well. And there was a lot of things that made me nervous, but a lot of things that I thought could be a great opportunity for both of us.
So how did you feel about the potential to move to like Florida?
That was hard. Both of our families are here, and to us, we wanted our boys to be around their grandparents. So, that was really not our first option to move, but, we wanted to stay around here. But we said if we were going to move, we would move where it was warmer.
Smart.
Yeah. So, it probably wasn't my first choice, but we had to do what we had to do. But we ended up being able to keep our boys around their grandparents. So,
Yeah.
That's nice. And helping people.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about what restoration work is.
Restoration is going in after some sort of event, usually a fire, flood, or storm damage, or vehicle collision damage, and helping the people get back on their feet and restore their property, whether it's their structure that they live in or their personal property inside the house.
Okay, so it's sort of post-disaster recovery
Yep.
for the
exactly.
house,
For the
belongings.
for the house, the belongings, and most importantly, the people that are in the house, helping them get back on and supporting them and being there for them as they go through that difficult process.
The learning curve for the business. You went into this with very little knowledge of that industry. You already had the caring for people thing in your quiver, but as far as how to run this type of business or the way to go about it, what was the learning curve like for you? Was that I would think that was a lot of work.
Yeah, it was. It's anytime you go into something new, it's a big learning curve. So. We had a consulting. I bought the company from two brothers and had a consulting contract for them for a period of time that they stayed on and helped. Mm-hmm. And then that wore its course. Obviously, new owners coming in and existing owners being there working, worked for a while, and then we want to move on and they want to move on.
Yeah.
So we had that, and then really a lot of networking, joining some industry groups that we could network across the country. Our goal was to be the best that we could be and find out what's the best out there. So we were very fortunate to get in a really good networking group and traveled the country and even Canada, from California to Florida to New York and in between to find out what's the best in our industry right now out there. And did that for quite some time and looked to bring all that back to our company and how we can build, something significant here.
Okay. So when you're traveling to other, Canada, and by the way, Sunho, that's that state to the north of where you grew up. When you're traveling to these other
Maple
places,
syrup state.
that's right. Are you visiting with other companies like that, or I know
yes,
that
other
you work with
other restoration companies.
How willing were they to share their information with you?
What we found, if we had a common interest, whether we're in the same network or we're utilizing the same equipment or something like that, very open. Because everybody here that we're talking to is on a non-competitive basis. They're competing. They're in their region. Mm-hmm. We're here in Ohio,
right? And
so they're very open. It was nice to be able to talk to people that are out there and in our industry, and some were newer, and some have been in it, 30, 40 years, and gather their opinions and bring that knowledge back.
Okay. So you bought this business, started with one location, correct?
Yes.
Okay. But I saw your card, and it looks like there's two locations now,
correct?
Right? All right.
Correct. We bought the business. It was based in Dayton, up in Moraine, near the old GM plant up there.
Mm-hmm. It was in 2004.
Yes, in 2004. Okay. And we're from Cincinnati, born and raised in Cincinnati. I guess I'm not technically born here.
Shh, we won't tell anybody.
But raised here in Cincinnati. Both our families have been here for a long time, My grandfather was a coach down at Roger Bacon. And
I hear stories about him from my old man.
Do you?
Who,
Nice.
He
Nice.
played for the preceding coach, but
Okay.
your
Yes.
grandfather was there quite some time, wasn't he?
He was.
Yeah.
Had a very good career, and
Very well respected.
yes, thank you.
Man. Yeah.
He was a great man. And then my dad was a surgeon here in town, so just made sense for us to really come home, so to speak, and set up an operation here. It not only come home from being in our hometown, but also the market was right. The market opportunity was right after we did our research, and being so close, operating in Dayton, we were really cognizant of what's going on in Cincinnati.
Mm-hmm. You're in a business that deals a lot with insurance companies and insurance agencies. Jennifer, is that your role basically? Are you? I know you've been in our office from time to time, and I see you at different association events.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what you do for the company?
One of many things,
Yeah.
Tom. I usually do what Mike needs me to do, but my main focus is working with the insurance agents and property managers. Just really, the relationships and educating them on what we can do and why they should trust us.
Mm-hmm.
In your segment earlier, you said wear many hats.
Yeah,
so
so
Jennifer
she's-
wears many hats. She's
Yeah.
an incredible asset to our company, and that's another. We didn't even go there, but geez, working with your spouse and owning a company together. That's,
you know what? I was going to ask that.
That was her
later.
next question.
But I imagine it. I mean, you've known each other since childhood, and started your relationship really in high school. You have like light years ahead of most couples in learning the communication and how you
Right.
guys work as partnerships. Yes.
It is, and I think Mike and I, you talked about strengths and weaknesses also, and our strengths are different, and then our weaknesses the same. So we complement each other in that because we really are a good team. It's a challenge as a husband and a wife, but in the end, we're working towards the same goal, and we can accomplish a lot more, I believe, because we both have a passion for it, and we bring different strengths to the table.
That's really nice. A lot of partners need to still work that out.
yes.
Yeah.
Well, actually, coming from the
Tom.
legal industry on the you guys
Yeah.
coming from the legal side and seeing so many partnerships blow up. When I was buying the company, one thing I told Jennifer is that I'm doing this together with you and nobody else because I've seen so many of those partnership marriages go bad.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
Yeah.
I didn't want to have to go through that.
Partnerships are hard in general, and I know that from experience. But I would think that'd be doubly tough. But you have two locations, so that's good. One can hang out in Dayton, and the other can hang out here in Cincinnati, right?
Oh, I'm sure that's not necessary.
Yeah, maybe. So tell me some of the things that you do. I visited your facility. I know that the type of business that you're in competition with franchises, national franchises, and holding your own quite well. But tell me some of the things that you do that are a little bit different, because I thought I saw several.
Yeah. We do well. I think one of the things we really do well is, like I mentioned earlier, take care of the customer.
Yeah.
Really focus on the customer and focus. We build our whole company around our core values, and that's ultimately our culture, which is be honest, do your best, and treat everybody with respect and integrity. And if you can do that every day, whether you're in the radio industry, the insurance industry, the restoration industry, I think you're going to be successful because it sounds easy as you roll it off your tongue, but to really hold yourself to those standards on a daily basis and have a whole company of however many people, we have 30-something people, and having them hold themselves accountable to those standards too.
Yeah.
So I think that's one of the biggest differences of people and who you're dealing with, and how we care for people and how we respect them.
Very nice. Very nice. I want you to be able to give out your contact information, but real quick, I want to touch on one of the things that I saw that was pretty amazing at your place. I took a tour of your facilities not long ago and was very impressed because I've seen other types of restoration companies in my business. And one of the rooms somehow I walked into, and it was filled from floor to ceiling with stuffed animals. It was kind of creepy actually because they're all looking at me. But I'm like, what the heck is going on? Is this like a side business you got going on or what? And then there was rooms of furniture and everything's all nice and neat and palleted up and tagged, and So what's going on with the stuffed animals? What are you doing with them?
Oh, with the stuffed animals, that we actually started a side of our business which is salvage sales for insurance companies. A lot of these items gets cashed out, but they still are good, and we can still restore them. That's one of the things that we really bring to the industry is our success rates on the restoration side. We're generally able to restore, if not burnt, melted or heat damaged, can restore about 85 to 90% of the stuff out there.
So if it's smoke damage, where an insurance company would normally just say, okay, it's totaled, discard it. And in this case, it would have been, I'm talking thousands of stuffed animals would have gone in the
smoke damage
garbage.
stuff was very difficult to
They got
remove
some
that.
system
It
that
generally is. We've got some great systems that we can completely clean it and deodorize it
Yeah.
and bring it back to its pre-loss condition.
And I checked it.
Pretty
I
amazing.
smelled it, and I got a pretty good whiffer. And
You do.
No hint. I mean, it's big. Look at it. It's huge. But, no hint of any smoke or anything. And you also
know
do the
what?
same thing with like household goods, people's furniture and their belongings, which,
Furniture, electronics,
Yeah.
Other hard goods, soft goods, laundry.
Well, of all those things, I think the stuffed animals would be the most important. I
Yes.
mean, I know I've got 3 kids, and for some of them,
yeah.
to be able to get back a stuffed animal or some other thing like that
Yes.
would mean more than, the other stuff.
Right.
So
You're right. And when somebody's having a fire, and the fire truck is there putting out their fire, their immediate thought and natural thought is, oh my gosh, I lost everything.
Yeah.
So be
Yeah.
able to bring that back to them and bring it back to them restored, and it's very fulfilling on that
Nice.
side. And it works for the insurance side too, because we can clean it at a substantial discount compared to what it costs for them to replace it.
Yeah,
Right.
great service you provide. If somebody, God forbid, has a tragedy, we've had a lot of rain lately, so we're seeing some flooded basements, things like that. But somebody has a tragedy. What's the best way to contact you?
Give us a call at Bacevich Restoration, 513-895-0797.
Okay, and if you're one of my customers, call our office, and we'll put you in touch with them.
There you go.
So, all right, thanks guys for coming on. We
Thank
really
you.
Thank you
appreciate
for
it,
having us.
and continued good luck to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Sun-Ho. Today is the first ever segment of Don't Worry, You're Covered. All right, this is where I look at a business and I break it down, analyzing its various coverage concerns. You, Sun-Ho, will be dazzled
That
by
was
my
the sound of
vast
me hitting the floor.
insurance knowledge and unique ability to understand and protect your business. And then you'll call me at 741-2100. Okay.
okay,
So
cool.
today's business breakdown is
Business
a restoration
breakdown.
company.
Okay.
All right. So we're going to use our guests as examples. Okay.
How do you feel about that? You'll be the first guinea pig.
Nice.
Yeah. This
Business
is the first
breakdown.
one. So, okay. First of all, if you own a restaurant or you own some type of a retail operation, your primary exposure is your store, right? It's everything is there. Your inventory is inside your space. Your customers are coming and going inside your space. It's where business is conducted, and on an everyday basis. So it's pretty easy to control, the situation, control your exposure to loss. Let's say you're in a crime area, you might want to put, an alarm on the business or bars in the window, whatever it takes, better locks. But some businesses like contractors and restoration contractors, they do the vast majority of their work in somebody else's place, and sometimes it's at 2:00 in the morning. Okay, so
good
they're
point.
working. So you're working in and around other people's stuff, and it's very important to look at all the things that could go wrong in that situation, and to make sure you're covered. So a lot of insurance agents, you'll hear this a lot, that they like to do everything possible to fit a business into something called a BOP, or a business owner's policy. BOPs are pretty cool because there's everything's in there. It's kind of like ragu. It's in there, right? So, but what they don't tell you and what they sometimes don't know is what's in there is sometimes limited, and there could be problems or there could be a catch. Restoration companies, again, they like to take their very expensive equipment out and about, and they perform their work in somebody else's house. Most business policies, business owners' policies, BOPs, ragu policies, they'll cover your business equipment, but they don't cover it once it leaves your business. Once you put it in the car and take it to somebody else's place, you're kind of out of luck. So if your business is one that does something like that, then you should look at inland marine coverage. Sounds kind of weird for
Inland Marine.
Yeah, don't ask me why. It goes back to the shipping days, the maritime
Okay. Yeah,
days.
it seems oxymoron.
But it's called inland marine. You might also hear it referred to as a floater.
So that's the name of the coverage, or what?
Inland
Okay.
marine or a floater. And it's designed to cover your tools and equipment when it's away from your business address, okay, when you're out and about. Several years ago, I had a break-in at a cabin that I owned down at Norris Lake, and all my appliances were stolen, including my refrigerator, and they even took my coffee maker. Those sons of guns.
Yeah,
They
but
took-
you probably had a
that's
really
adding-
good coffee maker.
That's adding insult to injury, you know? But they took the appliances, including the refrigerator, and I don't know if you're aware of this, but if you've got an ice maker on your refrigerator and you remove the refrigerator, you got a water problem. And thieves, they don't worry about turning off the plumbing when they
didn't cap the
take your
water
fridge.
line for you?
No, they didn't turn off the water, so my whole place flooded out. So I called a company like, Bacevich.
Restoration.
Yeah, it wasn't Bacevich because it was down in Tennessee, but it's one like them. And they came out the next day. It's pretty impressive. They came out and they bring these huge, big dehumidifiers and fans and things like that. Okay, and they're running in there, and the place is drying out. And that very first night that they were in there, somebody kicked in my door and stole all of their stuff.
Oh my gosh.
So
it's probably the same people who took all the stuff in the first place.
Yeah, probably. They were probably watching, saying, wait till the restoration company comes and we'll get their stuff, the valuable stuff. Because those things, Mike, they're expensive, aren't they?
Yes, they are.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So fortunately, they had a good insurance agent and their stuff was covered. But it could have gone the other way too. A lot of people overlook those things. So that's something important. If you operate outside of your home, make sure that if you take your business equipment with you, you cover it. All right. Another concern for a company like this is the fact that they take customers' stuff back to their shop, stuffed animals, furniture, things like that. So now they're in possession of other people's stuff, and they want to make sure that they have coverage called property of others, or you might hear it referred to as Bailey's coverage. So if your business is in control or possession of other people's property, you want to make sure that that's covered by your business insurance.
What's that called?
Bailey's coverage, or personal property of others. Okay. Pollution and mold coverage can be a big thing for folks in business like this, and a typical BOP policy, RAGU policy, of course, it's in there to a very limited extent. So that can be a concern for a company like this. And there's lots of other coverages and concerns that a restoration company or a contractor might have, when selecting the right insurance for their business. The important thing, though, is to just spend the time talking to an agent that understands your business and can explain the different types of coverage to you and why you should consider each one. My job as your insurance agent is to make sure that when you call me with a claim, I can say, don't worry, you're covered. All right, so that's our segment. What'd you think? That's the first one. How'd I do? Well, that was
I
pretty
liked
good.
it. That was really good.
Did you like the music? I did.
Oh, I love Bobby McFerrin.
Yeah.
He's awesome.
Yeah. Was that who that was? Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. Good. So anyway, that's something that we're going to do on a weekly basis. We're going to break down a business. And I'm sorry, I know it's insurance and it's kind of boring, but there's I see it all the time. There's a lot of people out there that are just not covering their businesses the way they should.
No, I think it's I've had bad experience in the past with that kind of a thing exactly.
Yeah.
Having like a generic one-size-fits-all policy, and then finding out, when I needed it, that I didn't have the coverage that I thought I had, and it didn't take that much more money to have been covered.
Right,
So
exactly.
I know the importance of having somebody really look at it and not just relying on a computer formula or, just sort of taking something off the shelf.
Right.
So
We
good
see,
job.
We see it every day. It's invaluable.
Yeah,
Everybody that
exactly.
goes through their loss, and when they're properly covered, it's so much less stressful when they're not properly covered.
Yeah. Yep.
Ooh,
We don't
so-
want to say,
yeah.
sorry, no coverage. That's the last thing I want to say as an insurance agent. So,
So no crazy insurance story this time?
no, sorry, that's it. We're out of time. Sunho, it's not an easy thing to be an entrepreneur, to be a business owner. It takes a lot of hard work, but if you have the guts, the vision, and determination to run your own business, well, then we want to help. Here's what you do. You listen to American Dreamers every Sunday night at 9. and hear the stories of entrepreneurs like Jennifer and Mike of Bacevich Restoration.